Madam Speaker, the problems, the way...
So, ladies and gentlemen, so now, karibu to Alboa Cinema. Now, the last 2 days, we've had, not days, I mean, for the last 2 weeks or so, we've had the political upheaval. So, in as much as I would like to do film content at the moment, this has just taken over everything. So, it's good to talk about this in as much as it's not directly in my industry, but it does affect us economically, of course. So just to talk generally about the siasa inaendelea, but yesterday on X, I did find this video of naitwaje Senator Richard Onyonka of Kisii County. As in, it's very rare that I hear politicians speak like this, and it gave me, how do I say, it started, because of the pressure that's been on, people have now have to come out really and take a stand and basically say the truth, so that there is no more this PR nonsense that keeps on going on everywhere. So we are going to listen. I've already watched this video. It really impressed me. That's why I'm reacting to it. Full disclosure, I know this individual. We are related. He's my Kashin. But I actually saw him from the first time when he came from the US, starting off to trying to, because when his father passed away, he was trying to replace him. Wasn't able for 2-3 times, but eventually was. So he's walked the miles, so he knows the system in there. He knows what's going on. It's not like what he's saying is particularly new, but it's usually quite, what's the word? It's to me, it's impressive when suddenly people start saying more of the truth. We require that. So we are going to listen to this, then I will react to it. So I've just moved it forward a bit to answer.
Odinga said about Kenya in elected politics about 22.
Okay, no, let's go back.
Sorry, I've lost my voice a bit. I'm lucky because I have the institutional memory. I have been in politics for the last 30 years. Those 30 years I've been in elected politics about 22.
Mm-hmm.
Madam Speaker, the problems, the way Mzee Odinga said about Kenya, have not been started by President William Ruto.
And that's just a fact. And this is not to try and lessen the effect that this current guy is doing, Ruto. This has started from independence. The corruption, the theft, the incompetence, the inefficiency, the violence, all this has always been there since independence. It just maybe gets a bit better as we go forward, but it's always been there.
If you look at the history, and Madam Speaker, the other day people were asking me, how did you tell that these young Gen Zs are actually going to come to the streets?
Now, I did personally. I think I'll put the one of the posts I put during the 2022. When people are talking about Hustler Nation, Hustler Nation. We are trying to tell you, this guy cannot be trusted. He's never built anything. Everything he has been gained through corruption. He's very violent, 2007. So there was a history. Mkijaribu kuambiwa, oh, you guys don't want the hustlers to make money. Kwani mnafikiri nyinyi tu ndio mahustler? So I knew months after you voted for him, you start whining about it. And you did. Eventually you're here. Let's listen.
After 1 year, I said, I look at the trend. If you look at independence 1962-3, that was the 20 years beyond where the liberation movement took place. After that, we got independence. It took another 20 years for us to have a military coup. The people who were guiding us...
So it seems there's a cycle of 20 years where, sorry, this keeps going on the mic. So in that cycle of 20 years, every time there seemed to be a big event to show the discontent of the population to their leadership. So he's trying to say that. So it seems after 2, 3 elections, 4 elections, People have enough. They revolt. Then another thing has to happen to try and, persuade people that things will change, and repeat.
And who are even within that military coup are not old men like Jaramogi or Charles Njonjo at that time.
It never is.
It was young Gen Z students of the University of Nairobi and young people who believed in the ideal of what Kenya was. The second issue that came up, Madam Speaker,
or in my opinion, the most easily manipulated. That's just a fact.
Was after, by the year 2002, there was another 20 years. Then you come to 2022. I mean, to 2002 is when Kibaki was elected, is when we have a referendum, is when we have a new constitution, and then we say Kenya is now on the right path. After that, Madam Speaker, we did not follow the letter of the constitution. What many of us have never understood
They never really have.
is that your democracy is as valid and as reasonable and as verifiable and is implementable as the people who are willing to follow and implement that constitution. We have completely failed our people. And that is why when the elections took over and we had challenges, and that is why when you look at our country and the crisis that has come up, when you look at the issues which are bedeviling our country, you realize that we are on quicksand.
And this is the thing with a lot of the third world. Despite the fact that we don't have so much in terms of wealth, like actual wealth that can be used on the ground, we have a lot of other resources. Most of the world operates on the minerals that are found on this continent. But why don't we receive the benefits? It's because of the politicians. They steal everything. They do deals with those foreigners, those foreign companies. The companies come, they make sure nikiachia Ruto ama niachie huyu ama niachie huyu, I'll do the business the way I want. Then on the ground, maybe grease the hands of a few locals, and they continue. It's coming up.
Unless you have old men and old women, people of dignity and decency, people who have got wisdom, people who are not greedy to fix this country, we will not have a country very soon. Madam Speaker, I've served as an assistant minister. I went to Cote d'Ivoire, sent by President Kibaki to go and visit President Gbagbo. I got into his house. He was wearing a vest. That time the military was around him. He was being deposed. 2 weeks later, he went home with his wife. They were half naked. Those sins are not sins that Africa should be proud of.
This is the thing. We have to be very aware that our situation is not unique. It has happened before in so many countries across the world, Middle East, Africa, Europe, some places. It happens. And it never happens in a vacuum. In as much as people would like to think that they're the ones, like a people-led movement or things like that, a lot of the times, powerful people, organizations, even straight-up companies, and so many people that have things to do here. I've said this before. So even when you think that your movement is people-led, what you don't understand is that you don't have money. You don't have weapons. You basically live at the mercy more often of these powerful people because they own everything, like in this country. So if they wanted to stop you, they would do it like they did. And the problem is, when you do such things, the anarchy, every idiot takes his cut. Tuliona video hapa, there's some youths who are paid to start the mayhem. They were not old people like me. They were Gen Z. So msianze kuseparate, mseme hii Gen Z na hii Gen Z. I told you, the violence, stealing, it will happen. And once it happens, you will lose favor among those people who are trying to build something. Watu walipita hapa nje kwetu, stoning us for nothing. They're just passing, wanajaribu kuiba masoda kutoka mashop, manini. It's only that around here people started coming out, they got afraid and ran, because pia sisi ni wengi hapa na sisi ni watiaji. But it's clear this movement is not as independent as you think. Kuna mtu ameanza mamezesha kutake advantage. So we have to be careful because I'm not going to any forest to fight. Nimesikia wengine mkongeti you want to die for. Die for what? Politicians.
Madam Speaker, our country has broken down. Our country has challenges. But before I go to how, in a short notice, what we can do, I would like to ask the President, and I asked him the other day, the children who died and the children who are in the prisons, please remove them. Those who have died, I want to ask this House, the Senate, let us make sure that those children get a state funeral.
Well, I guess that's a good gesture. And also, I think I would support it because I think it would lay a mark on what has happened. Because I personally think over 50 people have been killed, personally. And once it becomes clear that's the case, like Sabasaba, people died, not as many, but it's huge. In terms of the history, if you can check August 7th, you'll always find something about it. That would have the same effect. Years from now, that can be said, okay, they even had a state funeral. So it was serious. So ndio huyu prezi asianze ku brush things on the side that, just a few people died. No.
Those were not criminals. These are children who had reached a dead end. Madam Speaker.
Although juzi sasa muliingisha macriminal as expected, ni kama mtu yote ajui riots, protests, nini, hivyo ndio kunaenda. Si hapa tu, you saw America the last 2-3 years back, hizo ma BLM riots, muliona vile masupa zilisha mpaka wa leo. You have masses of people just get into a supermarket, they take everything and they go. So watu wanafunga mashop kila pahali US. It's the same thing. So when it goes to these political machinations, you have to be very careful. It doesn't take emotions to get results. Emotions will be used by anyone. You need to just say, talk nicely, and you're in.
What is wrong with our country? We call it a company with shareholders. Our country is not a company. Our company is Kenya, which is a state. It has 50 million people who all expect and demand certain services from the state. We, the politicians in this House, I heard my colleague speak. I am so happy that we are now telling each other the truth. We are the ones who carry militias. We are the ones who go and carry cattle rustlers.
Now, this is something that we've always known. Moi era, which I lived through. I don't know. Kenyatta, I know it was there, but I'm talking about what I lived through. Moi era. Every time there was elections, kulikuwa na Mount Elgon, watu wanapigana. There was some weird militias. You're wondering, why is the army not taking out these guys? Kumbe, these are people that are owned and paid for by politicians most of the time. In fact, all the times. They're the ones who own them. They're the ones who constitute them. So kila wakati unaona politician anakuambia nipe kura, remember that person is one who will also turn on you, pay some of you who will make violence upon you. So uwezi kuwa emotional juu hivi tu, lazima ukwe tu rada.
We are the ones who have got companies that are doing business in government departments. We are the ones who are stealing the money.
It is standard. By the way, see, everybody knows you can't really get a tender from Gava unless you're connected. And actually, these guys got even more belligerent by creating their own companies. Like every goddamn MP, MCA, senator, name them. The president, the vice, everybody. They have their own pseudo companies that are all given those tenders. Most of the time, the tenders are given to those companies. Of course, they don't have the expertise. So they sub-tender to others, if there's such a word. Then those others, right now, people are crying because most people have not been paid. tears hundreds of billions of dollars just chilling. While these guys wakiamua, we need 40 million each for an MP, inapatikana. But their business is shutting down. There are people who have lost families, friends, relatives because they took a risk. Oh, they kaenda kafanya biashara fulani na gava ajalipwa 2-3 years because huko hiyo corruption eti ulipeaje ule deal si mtu wetu, whatever it is.
Look at the national government, call it down, bring it down to the National Assembly. We must begin to look at issues like CDF. We must look at the Women Fund. We must look at the structure. Do we need all the people who have been given offices?
No.
I've been asking this publicly. Why are governors running county governments as if they are private companies where they are stealing money, buying properties abroad?
It's because you guys worship these paper tigers. Kuna ka youth naona kakona pesa mingi kanaonesha he's been also trying to be an activist. Huyu mjia ametoa do wapi? Ni mnamfuata hundreds of thousands of you there. Huyu msee. Why don't you guys ask where is that money from? You know where it's from. You don't care. Ni saa ile wewe umeumia ndio sasa unataka ulie. Because some of you want a chance to get in there and steal like these people. Because you're not honest. Mbona amsemi yenyewe tulieka huyu mtu tuliambiwa ako down lakini mkakuwa kichwa mbaya. Now you want to just assume, we didn't do, you caused this. So you don't get to jump around and claim to be the heroes that will save us. Amna akili. You're being emotional. You're being told, wase si mabeste wenu. You don't want us to make money. Mna make money sahi. Sinyote tu mnataka kufanya wash hapa. Ma drugs mnauza kwa tao huko mmekaa kwa uto tu izaitwaje? Makex na hizi mpya mmepaka huko na tu Benz na nini. Hamfanyi kitu, mnauza madawa. Mnachukua do hizo za corruption, mnaanza kuweka kwa hizo tu stall twenu tao na tu M-Pesa. Nani mna pretendia hapa eti Gen Z, eti mko clean wapi?
Such big vehicles, including ourselves. When did we decide that I must drive a car which is 4.8 cc? That at 3,000 cc is not good enough. When our children don't have medicines, when our women are not giving birth, when we can't feed our children, when we buy fertilizer, we deal on it, we sell some of it, we sell mchanga. We are bringing in maize when we are supposed to be planting maize and giving farmers
just put noise
fertilizers and giving them funds so that we can get production and increase that so that we create jobs for our people. It is we politicians who go and buy 2 million tons, 2 million.
These guys, like the sugar, he was talking about sugar, but because I also have a friend who's been in that business, it's basically this. The big guys who are supposed to be manufacturing the sugar are actually doing it China. They buy from Brazil, then they package. So they've removed the farmers, distributors locally from the mathematics. They've gone abroad. So it's just about them and their profits. Instead of improving the factories here to compete in terms of cost, because also running a business, you have to look at being efficient and also cost. So if somebody else is doing it better, sometimes as a business, you have to follow that person. But in this particular case, where these companies are owned by government, and it's our money, and they're running it to the ground. The former governor of Nairobi, the former governor before Sonko, Kidero ran down, is it Mumias or one of those? Ataweza kibonga la nyumba hapa. Watu wanakaa ulichekile pool, umechekio kwenye gari. Eti mazee, imagine pia mimi naweza toka hapo nje nipate 1 billion.
Metric tons of maize we come and sell. We bring 3 million metric tons of sugarcane. Mumias is dying. Chemelil is dying. Sony Sugar is dying. Those are factories that used to employ people. Who are the biggest dealers of investment companies in Kenya? We, the political class. What happened to Kenya Airways? Look at it now. It's smelly, filthy.
sham.
It was the pride of Africa. Who runs Kenya Power? Why are we not told?
Kwanza Kenya Power, kwanza currently it's like kila mtu alifutwa wakale tu ndio akawekwa. I've never seen this level of incompetence. Like now sasa nafikiria sasa watataka kurudi Moi era, itisudi tribe moja ya wakale. Sasa ni pesa ni si umeona watu Kericho wakifight like they're the hao ndio wanakula. Hao ndio wanakula. So you see, these politicians are even able to pay on the ground that your fellow citizens will go against you. So let's not be naive.
Who are the owners of the independent power suppliers of this country? Why are we not being told who owns our national parks? But you hear money is being stolen by none other than the elite and the political class. These people out here are tired. These people are tired.
Mimi nilichoka kitambo. That's why we left dealing with system people. That includes these two companies. A lot of these companies are also owned by the same politicians. So even the people employed there, they behave like them. Wanakaza. Wako down job lakini wanakaza. You'll find them unaenda unapigiwa hizo ma-PR, hey man, your stuff is so cool man. Oh blah blah blah. Kidogo unaona wamejaribu kuplagiarize ka idea lakini wanaiproduce kama mang'ombe. Hizi ma stations zinafungwa na watu wanafutwa. Jua hivyo. KTN is owned by a politician. K24 politician. I think Citizen 2 ndio mtu independent but is also politically inclined. So how can you trust anything they say? They don't even compete really. Kidogo kila mtu akiweka Niger movies wanaweka. Undercut producers wa hapa. And then they want to have viewership like Flaco, a local producer. Anawachapa ka umbwa. And you guys have all studios and people. Go down. You know, when you're dealing with the political class, you're dealing with people who have so much wealth, they don't even understand how they got it. If you ask that person to do a business that will even give him 10% of that wealth, he can't.
Trying this morning, today, because we are messing up a good thing. We are messing.
That's true. Hapa tunaweza, like during the Kibaki period, I noticed we can do things. There was theft, there was all the, but there was just a small chance to make money, do business and grow. It was just a small chance and people took advantage. But that was not enough. So mimi hata sipendi kutumia your standard. I'm just saying it because it's kind of within our lifetime. That was like the best period, you know?
This country. Who wants to be a refugee? And there's enough for you people to eat, so long as you eat with manners. The revenue we collect is enough to run 8 African countries: Kenya, Rwanda,
Imagine
Burundi,
that.
Tanzania. You go to Congo, you go to South Sudan, you go to...
So when this guy is telling you that he has to add taxes, he's not addressed the theft, the inefficiency, everything, management, all that, he's not addressed it. But he wants to add just because ameambiwa na mabosses at IMF or World Bank. So easy vitu, they're obvious. So right now, let's double down. I'm doing this video to send this message this guy is saying. Senator Onyonka. I'm doing it because this message is what you need. You need to remember that the people in these houses are your enemies until they prove otherwise. Because what they've proven is they'll let your kids die in hospital. Fala hapo Ministry of Health anachukua dawa zote ama do zote za dawa wananunua Prado.
Somalia and you go to Ethiopia. That's what our goddamn budget is.
Yes.
Just manage
Pesa
it, don't steal it. A few people are stealing too much.
Your life
These
is not
kids
even
out
better
here,
than
they know
Matized so
everything.
much ama Ugandans.
They know your houses. They know where your kids go to school. They know which properties of land you have.
By the way, unaonanga vile hao mababi wanatokanga watu, oh, my life at Churi, my life in Lankilele. Hao watu wote ni majenzika, nyinyi baba zao ndio waizi. All these people, look nyuma na nyuma, a lot of these people flossing. There is not one person that I know as a factory that produces something, or ni film producer na run radio station poor nini, making actual money from customers. Check here, say maybe you'll find maybe 5%. 95% iwezi wote.
Why must somebody have 4 million acres of land to his name?
They want to own people.
What happened to our mentality? Then we pretend and run to churches talking about Christianity, how Jesus... Do you understand what you are dealing with? The people out here don't even believe in God anymore. The people out here are tired of the lies.
You see, kwanza ndio nilikuwa nachoka when I was seeing, like these pastors, preachers, I don't know, apostle, TC prophet, all of them fake. To the man and woman, I dare you. Nyinyi mmeingishwa na hizi maujinga za religion kwanza. Ndio politician anaweza chukua gunia ya pesa aweke kwa church. Mnajua ni ya wizi, mnaona kipasa president akishachukua hiyo do, nyinyi mna clap and then now you come cry later. Mnaona hiyo wizi inaendelea mbele yenu, then they come, they tell you God. Then you guys say, oh, he was chosen by God. Mbwa bure kabisa.
Religious organizations. And I have to say this, I'm a Catholic. I was so happy I saw the Purple No-Show talk about the issues of a country. Let us forget that we can...
They are useless whether they talk of it. Talk is cheap. I don't care about this because these Catholics. They shut the fuck up. Hizi vitu mmefanya hii dunia. Stop listening to these corrupt people, guys. Teach Catholic Church. Hawajafanya kitu ya kuwasaidia. I know you won't listen, but I don't care.
Run this country as tribes. Let us accept that there is a new sheriff in town. That sheriff is the GNC. They are partyless. They are tribeless. They don't have money.
Sasa ndio waliwekea Ruto ndani, Rick.
They just have bundles and a phone. And they'll stop
and they can't beat guns.
This country to move. I would like to plead with the members of this house when it comes to looking at what role our committees are playing. Look at what happens. I want to thank my brothers Sifuna, my brother Chirargei. I want to thank Madam Dulo. These are, many of you may not know, we've never discussed it here. How many times we've been threatened that we are raising issues about county governments losing billions. I mean, who doesn't know how many governors own apartments and houses in Kilimani Road? Each
na leo ameamua. You see, this is facts. It's just refreshing that a politician is saying it. So there are no more excuses. No more, oh, it's my guy, did this. No. There's no more of that bullshit. So kama umeambiwa na mtu amekuwa ndani 30 years, mimi sitaki kusikia next round eti kuna mtu kwa hii floor saa hizi Senate na au ma MP. Is there one person in there that you want to give kura? If any of these people goes back, maybe except him. If any of these guys is voted back, ni nyinyi. Because me, by the way, I don't vote anymore until I see someone that meets the minimum threshold of being a good leader. I am not going to endorse and rubber stamp thieves like you all did.
One of them owning an apartment costing 1.5 billion shillings. Why didn't the fool just go and build a hospital where he comes from? I wish we stole the money and put it at home. Some of them are going to Dubai. People are going to America. You see on social media.
They own houses in Dubai, in America.
I just saw somebody commenting saying that the senators have nothing to do. I want him to tell me how he bought a Bentley and is an MP.
Yeah. Well, huyo jamaa.
Explain to
the audacity, man.
How does somebody, I mean, the truth is, I'm born with advantage and privilege. That is the truth. I saw my father driving a big car when I was a small boy.
Ilikuwa na BMW 535 KZT. He had that vehicle for almost 20 years. I think till he died. So at least his father, didn't really have like many big cars. He had like a Prado, no Pajero, and that BM. Yeah.
That is not what drives me. What
Oh, na Toyota Corolla zile za kitambo.
drives me is, how do you get a member of parliament driving a Mercedes that costs 49 million shillings? And
Why? You easy, wash, drugs. Kuna kitu mnatuambia hapa. Kwani I've seen a lot of people kwanza when you complain waseme eti si hata wewe uibe. Alafu mnatukujia hapa mnajaribu kutuonesha no. As we've done the work bana. We're not here to listen to rubbish, to follow it. You can't bully me into not giving my opinion about your bad decisions.
we are watching, and that is normal, and it is okay. And it is okay. Shame on us. Then we make sure this money doesn't go to the schools. We make sure that hospitals have no money. We start building hospitals now. We want the poor people to come to those hospitals. Poor people can't come to Nairobi Hospital. They can't come to Aga Khan. They can't. Some of them can't afford Kenyatta. You saw the other day, Kenyatta has a debt of 6.6 billion. The Eldoret Hospital, Eldoret KTRH, has a debt of 3.9 billion. When you ask, they tell you we don't know where the money went.
They know. Wanaiba yote. It's become rather ridiculous these days. Like, tunapenda kuuliza maswali obvious. You know ilienda wapi? So you know. The head of the hospital, the MP, doctors in there, nurses, everybody's stealing. So hakuna kuweka ngori kwa side moja. Cultural changes are must.
Are we fools?
Yes.
Do we need to buy houses which have got 15 bedrooms and drive 19 cars and put them in your parking lot, and you want 10,000 acres of land? You want a ranch? You fools. You go and buy a ranch in Australia.
Get in.
This is where we are.
Hey, you would
we
not
keep
give
blaming the
them.
police. The policeman cannot do anything. Have we ever gone as a Senate to go and see where the police lives? How he takes...
By the way, that's another thing. A lot of this, by the way, me sparing excuse. I say, wanakwanga tu watiaji, even the very rich ones, the top ones. So there is some validity to the conditions these people live, but if you're a public servant and you're using that as an excuse to steal from the public that you are supposed to serve, bado ni ufala.
These kids to school and his salary is 19,000. And this house has to start thinking about those things. We guys must begin, and we ladies and gentlemen in this house must begin to agree that we can reduce our salary.
You guys, my guy, he say, I will grow baby.
That we can drive smaller cars, that we can wear counters. In fact, the only thing I'm very annoyed about the president, I'm the one who started wearing counters. Now he has given counter a bad name.
Baze.
I want Kenyans to love counters the
Well,
way
I don't
love
like them, I have to be honest. I
Let
like
us
this
wake
proper
up,
suit,
Kenyans.
3-piece.
We can't play football.
3-bar
Money comes
or
from
2-bar.
FIFA, it is eaten. World Rally Championship, money comes from there, it's eaten. You go, you want Kenya Lawn Tennis Association, they only want 50,000 to hold an international tennis tournament. Not even the minister appears there. But when the minister is traveling out of the country, he's got how many people? Private jet, goes to Dubai, books one of those hotels, luxury hotels, and he comes back to Nairobi with the same 9 people he took with a private.
Wengi wao nakwanga kama slay queen, mnaona kwa Instagram, nakula pesa yenu wakiwaonesha, "Oh, you're jealous. Jealous of what? You're a thief." The other day they put Aziad in a creative council, like film and music and what? Fraud, ramp shaker, TikTok ramp shaker. By the way, guys, when I say that thing, kuna wase kwa industry hawaongeangi na mimi sahi, Peter Kawa, jinga hii.
And you assume that the Gen Zs don't know. These days they track you. They can know.
By the way, me I say names. Wewe kijana, ulijiangusha sana. Like, down. You are a married man. Kids. Unakataa kuongea na fellow filmmaker juu ya ramsheka. Una adabu. Kama anamwamba tu ababu. You guys, right now we are calling you all out.
Which private jet you took, where it went, and how it came back. Many of us are worried either because of history or because of...
Ababu na mamba alichukua hiyo dem Dubai tukaona wakitupigia mapicha. This is what this guy is saying. Si tunaona.
What has happened, we have got a lot of money now, we are owning so much land. Please allow us to have spatial planning. Your land, we can have an implemented law in this house to protect your even identity. But please don't stop stealing public land. Let us have mercy at our people. You saw people from Eldoret and Kakamega talking about, our chambers which our grandfathers left for us. Now you guys who are MPs and senators, you come, you chase us away, and then you throw us into court.
I have to be honest about that. A lot of these guys have sold their land. So, ni ile buyer's remorse. Uliuza land, pesa chini kidogo juu the land was not yet developed. So, politician kinakam, kinanunua, ama MCA, development kanaanza, things start growing, then the land appreciates, then umse nasikia the neighbor aliuza at triple the price, so they go back. Buyer's remorse. Kama uliuza. Kama me grab, then you deal. But money we sold. Najua hata huko Kisii muliuza.
You go and bribe the courts, and I want to talk about the judiciary.
Yes, that does happen. Two things can be true at the same time. People are selling their ancestral lands to these politicians and other rich people. Also, watu kama wa diaspora wananunua, hao ni roho safi, pesa yao ni ya huko, inakaa inasaidia. But these other politicians, watu wa CDF imenunua hizo maploti boss.
We respect you. We know that you are most of the time under the pressure. We know there are certain things which you can even be blackmailed, but we want to hold you at a higher standard. We must hold the judiciary at a higher standard, the legislators at the higher standard, and make sure the president is also at the higher standard.
So what they decided to do, all those people is mentioned, they're now in cahoots against you. So not even for one moment assume that you have friends in there. They're not friends. They're parasites, vampires.
That is how we can move as a country and stop this nonsense. We behave like monkeys running through a forest looking for bananas without knowing whether it's the bananas they want or it's oranges.
Look.
I really want to say this, Madam Speaker, finally. I was nearly giving up on my country. I have changed my mind because of today. The young men who are fighting for this country have done us proud. Let us treat them with dignity. Let us make sure we engage them. Let us stop doing the things which make them angry, desperate, and upset with the ruling class. The truth is, if this country breaks down, it takes all of us down. I can tell you, I was in South Sudan when we were doing the comprehensive peace agreement. I visited as a minister, as a young minister, to go and do what was called a referendum. I've been to Khartoum.
So it's about to end. That I think it's longer, but that's the end of it. First thing, the very end. There's no way there is a civil war over here because of William Ruto. Ruto ndiye aende. And you youths, better stop talking about how you'll die. You guys have no idea how many youths have been pumped into the meat grind of war just this century alone. Hundreds of millions. And in the end, on the other side, nothing. You're dead. Nothing changes. So stop being dumb. Eti unaweza pigana na unaweza uwa watu. What do you think there's war? You think who dies most? Think the politician. They'll run. They'll take the helicopters and run. Tabaki hapa mkiuana tu kama waumbwa. So that talk, it ends. Because let me tell you something. We don't allow you. Hakuna, mi nakwambia saa hii hapa. Juzi muliona kwa street. If it's no, it's no. Because you want to destroy my property that I've worked decades for? Juu ya mtu mwizi. mwenye wewe uliweka. No. That's not going to happen. You've seen they've come out. Your noise is making them at least start to change the tune. But these are words, actions. You must see right now that finance bill yote itoke. Within the budgets that we have now, we have already overextended. This should be more than enough. It's a budget that can handle 6 countries. East Central Africa, is it? So one country can't, because these fools have to eat till they puke. Basi tuone tena kwa ma Instagram, nyinyi majenzi mkifuata hawa waizi, eti mazuri chekile Bentley. Nione tena, alafu mnakuja kutuambia eti vile mna fight corruption. Nione tena mkiongea kwa obtain mtu, eti alikuwa amelala daroni kama obtain. Nisikie tena, mnaibia watu mafone, handbag. You're just like this person. You're just not sophisticated enough to get up there. When mtu wa street wa kunyang'anya your neighbor. Mmejaa street bana, mnaibia watu sana. You're always giving fake products in just your 2 shops. So this is not eti mimi siwezi kuwa pretender kaa nyinyi. Eti unaeka tu blame side moja, una ignore wengine because you are many and you can make the most noise. Absolutely not. Nyinyi ndio mlieka hii fala ndani. Remember, we are not dying because you make a stupid decision. You are going to have to correct it, not by banning my things, but by removing the politician. Work it out. If you can't, boss, tumekataa. Mi vile mulikuja kututumia mawe hapa kwangu, na mimi sijaibia mtu, struggling like you, then you come and try and take my shit. Haitakubaliana. Na nakwambia one thing, as I expected, these routes are done. Whatever you do from now on, it's inconsequential. Now the big boys are talking. Now mta realize, when it comes down to it, when you come after us, we'll respond accordingly. So meseti kitu poa, lakini nyinyi hamuko out nini from blame. You are just as corrupt as them. You want quick success like them. You don't want to build anything. You're just like them. So stop crying about it and change you. Ndio tuache hizi makelele mingi za kublame watu ndio ukae mzuri. Eti uko na mami mkali. That's useless. Does that mean put money? Does it build anything here in this country? Nothing. So I to keep real. Let's go real, eh? Baka mwisho. Mimi sirudi nyuma. Do I see the blame? Running away from taking accountability. We see you.